Today in the Diz List, we discuss our favorite Diz List memories.
Welcome to the Diz List, the podcast that lists everything in Walt Disney World. I'm Nick.
And I'm Robin. Welcome to episode 99, where we discuss our favorite Diz List memories. I'm so used to saying at Walt Disney World.
Yeah.
Well, they still are at Walt Disney World.
Yeah, sort of.
I'm just so used to saying that as the tail end to the intro. It feels like I'm writing with my opposite hand when I don't say that.
Yeah, we ended up with this show topic because Rob vetoed mine, which was just that we sang 99 bottles of beer on the wall.
That is a true story.
the entire episode. I thought that would be a fun way to do it. He didn't agree.
Well, it may take me a while to learn it on the guitar.
Okay.
give me a couple minutes. I'll have it.
Yeah. Hey, anything happened since we recorded our last episode? 30 seconds after?
Yeah. Or either it was 30 seconds after or exactly during.
Yeah.
I think you left. And
it had been leaked.
Yeah, and I went upstairs and sat down, and I think this is the way it went. And did somebody post it in the morning? So that was it. Somebody posted it, and then it had to do with American Idol, right?
So Disney PR is great. Disney PR was doing a thing like trying to drum up interest with American Idol, and said, "Hey, you should go watch American Idol for a very special announcement." As it turns out, when they made that announcement go live, they accidentally also released the press release that said June 28th.
Yeah, the actual opening date. But the coolest part about all of this is that you will be there right after it opens, which is a good news and bad news, which we discussed.
Yeah.
So it depends on... So, listeners, Nick is going to explain to you why being there a week after the opening is both a good thing and a bad thing.
It's a good thing because at Animal Kingdom, at Epcot and Hollywood Studios, that is not where the ride is located, so it'll be relatively empty.
That's the good news.
It's a bad thing because Magic Kingdom is going to be a mobbed park.
Yep.
It's a double-edged sword. I think it's cool. It's going to make for some good content. We're going to be there a little more than a week after it's opened. Okay. My assumption is I will be there during the virtual queue running.
Yep.
Maybe not. Maybe it'll be a quick one. And then they also said Genie Plus. Now, they weren't really specific whether or not Genie Plus was going to go on at the same time as a virtual queue. Like, virtual queue would be like, okay, you can, like, we're not even going to have a standby line. You enter the standby line via virtual queue.
Okay.
And then if you score a Genie Plus lightning lane, then you can go through the lightning lane.
Okay.
Do you know what I'm saying?
I do. So your normal standby queue, your phone will go off and it'll say, okay, please report to Tiana's Bayou Adventure at 2:00, right?
Yep.
You show up at 2, you get in the line exists.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean you get right onto it, which is probably also true if you buy an individual lightning lane, because as we've discussed before, if you're a new listener, they let those people on way more frequently than anybody else. And it is what it is. It's, hate it as you may, but you can't really change it.
At one point, I think we had heard that it was like almost an 8-to-1 or even better ratio. It's crazy. But
one of the guys who does this podcast that we both listen to, I don't think this needs to be an advertisement for their podcast, but he does real statistics where part of his company is he pays people to go through and ride into the rides, ride the rides and stand in line. And based on what we know, his information is pretty accurate.
Yeah. So I think it was like 8-to-1 or even better than that. But either way, I'm going to get a chance to ride it is what I think is going to happen. When you go, I doubt virtual queue will still be running.
I am going the beginning of August.
Yeah. From what I can tell, this is going to be a very short time of virtual queue.
Okay.
That's what it seems anyway in all their announcements. And then they're going to move straight to just Genie Plus, and that's that.
What will Tron be during that time?
I think they'll just run 2 virtual queues. They'll run a virtual queue for Tron and for...
Have they ever done that? Because I don't know if they did that for Remy in Guardians. I don't think Remy ever had one.
I don't think they've ever had a virtual queue, two virtual queues in the same park, but there's no reason why it wouldn't work. Like
They could do all virtual queues in the same park if they wanted to.
Yeah, I mean, if they really wanted to, yeah, why not?
I just don't remember a time when they've done two at once.
I don't believe they have in the same park. So, unfortunately, it's going to be kind of a trade-off. Like, do you want to get a virtual queue for Splash Tiana's, or do you want to get a virtual queue for Tron? Mm-hmm. If you're not with two people, if two people don't understand what's going on, you know what I mean? You need to have two people really knowing what to do to try to get virtual queues. I think like one of the scenarios that could happen too is like if you're really good at virtual queue and you're with somebody else who's really good at virtual queue, there's a potential that like you have Tron and Tiana's done by like
you could
10 a.m.
That'd be great.
I mean, I'm gonna try.
You just said Splash. Did you know?
I screwed up, yeah.
No. I'm not calling you out. It reminded me. Did you know that Typhoon Lagoon was originally called Splash! Exclamation point?
No.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That was the original name for Typhoon Lagoon.
Learn something new every day.
Uh-huh.
Also, I would like to point out that I was only 5 days off. Now, people are saying, wait, no, June 28th is a whole month off. You said May 28th. I agree. I did. However, cast members are getting to ride on the 2nd of June, which is 5 days after what I said. I think, honestly, that they probably initially planned on having cast member stuff that Memorial Day weekend.
Yeah.
But, delays being what they are. I'm sure there's some small delays here and there. Nothing major, but just some delays. And so I think that's probably why we're at.
I'm really looking forward to these characters. I mean,
Me too.
They're starting to show the plush already, and they look like they're a lot of fun. And given the length of the ride, which we know it's one of the longest rides at least Disney, or at least Magic
They can
Kingdom.
really tell a story here.
They can. Mm-hmm. And we can see a lot of those different characters. So
yeah, I'm honestly quite excited to ride it. When I left there last year, I assumed that I wasn't going to get to ride it again this summer. So the fact that I'm only missing just one trip that I didn't get to ride that ride. So it's pretty exciting. And I know that people are listening to this are like, you guys are talking about it like it's brand new news. No, it's because they announce stuff right after we get off the air.
Yeah,
and so, you're hearing it 10 days later.
Yeah.
But I'm super, super stoked for that ride. And I'm interested to see how the how the Genie Plus cost is that week now too. That's the other thing.
It's on a sliding scale, and
right.
Again, you're better with numbers. I'll ask you, what is the highest that we've known?
I think it got as high
Plus
as
to be
39 or 40
Okay.
one time during like a spring break.
Listeners, let us know if you have that info.
But I will say that like when you think about Genie Plus, right? It's a sliding scale, and it's a sliding scale per park. So maybe it'll be higher at Magic Kingdom, but not as high elsewhere. Which is never as high as at Magic Kingdom, but like I'm saying, maybe they'll just boost the price there.
And that's tough too, because your highest price is also the same price if you're doing a park hopper.
Right, because it's the cost of the most expensive park.
Right. So if you were doing,
which we're not park hopping, so it's fine by me.
If you were to do Hollywood Studios and go to Animal Kingdom, even though you're not going to Magic Kingdom, you still got to play that top dollar.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's not very good. But I think, I do think that you'll see sales. You'll see Genie Plus those first few days sell out quickly.
Yeah.
Especially because when you think about it, it's opening July 4th. I mean, that's pretty much what's happening. So it's June 28th through July 4th, that first week.
And July 4th is already a very busy time in the park.
Exactly. So I think you're going to see some sellouts of Genie Plus, but I do think you're going to see it even on days that normally or historically would not be sellouts. Mm-hmm. So it'll be interesting. It'll be fun. I've never been to a park this close to a ride opening. 'Cause this is within 10 days. So It's going to be, I shouldn't say that. I believe my first time to Islands of Adventure when we went to the Harry Potter Wizarding World, that was only like 2 weeks old at that point.
Really?
Yeah. We had to wait in there was a lottery to get in.
Wow.
To get into the land. Just to get into the land. Yeah. That was Thanksgiving of Thanksgiving a long time ago. Yeah. They all blend together now.
16, 20?
No, keep going back. Keep going way back.
Okay.
Like It might have been even like '09.
Okay. All right.
It's way back. But yeah, I'm looking forward to this. I know that you're looking forward to it, and that's really all we're going to talk about in this opening because we have a pretty fun show coming. Unless you have something else.
No. Let's head off to the halftime show.
This week is brought to us by a little bit different list. So because of the situation where we're kind of going through all of the, I don't know how to say it, all of the fun things and memories we have. I'm going to go through, and if my computer will behave, which it is not, sorry.
I think the internet's being difficult today.
Well, and it's not even your internet. I'm hotspotting. So what I would like to do is talk about how we do offer a free level of Patreon. And we don't normally, name off the names of our free patrons, but today we will, because obviously it's a special episode. This episode and next episode is kind of all about our memories. These first few, I don't know how to say it. These first few years.
Sure.
It's our memories from our first few years. And I like to put it like that because I don't really know.
The math doesn't match up with the exact, 2 years versus.
Right. Yeah. So I would like to recognize our free patrons. If you're not a free patron, you can sign up to be a free patron at patreon.com/DizListPod. And while that doesn't get you any benefits like as far as the early access or the mini episodes, it does get you announcements and soon to be part of our chats, and you can interact there with our community.
It's almost like a reminder too, because you check your email, and I get that in my email, and it pops up and says, "Hey, the new episode has been released." Which, doing a million things in my life, and I'm sure our listeners' lives, you get that in your inbox, and you go, "Oh yeah, the new episode. I'll check that out." So it's helpful for me. I always need reminders for stuff. I'm always setting alarms on my phone and things like that. Just when you get busy, it's helpful. So another reason to do that. All right. So who is this week's halftime show brought to us by?
It's brought to you by Becca C, Brian V, Chris G, Coach A, Cody B, Colin B, John H, Joe T, Catherine H, Christina P, Keith W, Kevin T, Megan M, Rachel D, Randy D, Rob A, who's that? And Rosalind.
That's me, folks.
So
I told you I'm part of this too.
Yeah, you signed up for free.
I did.
Yeah. So those are all of our free patrons, and let me tell you, we love having them along for the ride, and there's good things coming. We've been told by Patreon that the chats are going to be opened up to them as well, which is going to be great. We're going to probably need some moderators from our regular patrons, but that's okay. We right now have a few chats. We have just a general Diz List chat. We have a Diz List trip planning chat, and we have a Diz List trip report chat that is currently active. So those were our free patrons. Thank you very much for following us over there, as well as on social media at DizListPod. But we're gonna recap our favorite memories from the first 98 episodes right after the break. Welcome back. Today we're going to talk about our favorite memories from this past 2 years or so.
Yeah.
We figured this was a good precursor to next week's 100th episode.
There's a lot, and there's been a lot, and I also have to really go back in my brain because I'm trying to remember, okay, what has been different? What did we change? What have we done that was special? What have we done that, so on and so forth.
Yeah. I've got a lot of stuff that we've changed. That's for sure.
Me too.
Microphones.
I'm gonna. Is that on your list? Let's do it. We're gonna start there. Well, okay. Normally I start, but no. So originally we should do like an audio comparison.
No, my God, do you have to? No. It's so cringy.
Nah, I mean I can if you want to.
We've upgraded twice because the first 3 episodes I think we were recording around one mic.
That's right. What, really?
Yeah, because remember we showed up to record and you're like, I can't find the other mic.
Where was it?
Well, it turns out it was
the ghost in my house took it. It's a story for another time.
Yeah. I think honestly, if I recall, it was a USB mic and it didn't work in conjunction with our Scarlett.
That's right. Okay. What that means is the plug that plugs into the thing we record into was not compatible.
Yeah.
And then we had a couple recording mics, which they're called condenser mics, and one of them we use for morning announcements.
Yeah.
So last week when we were talking about Nick being on the morning announcement show, that's the mic, and that mic died, by the way.
It did.
Did you notice that the morning show's been sounding like garbage? I don't know what happened.
I just thought he forgot to turn on that mic.
We tried a couple things. Our producer, if he's listening, that's Will, and the other kid Noah. They're generally pretty smart kids, and they're good with tech. They couldn't figure it out. I mean, I would, but all right. Enough about morning announcements. Anyway, so that mic is still being used, and then we used those for a while, and they worked pretty well. Those condenser mics, they're decent for audio, but they're not podcasting microphones.
No, I mean, when in the 100th, I've got a bunch of clips that we're going to probably drag and drop in, and you can hear a little bit of a difference because they're echoey, they're a little bit tin canny.
Yeah.
You have to turn the gain really low. It's just they're not right for what we're doing.
Yeah.
So it wasn't on my list. I was just kind of joking around about
no, but it's a good point though too, and both of us, mainly you more than me, but we both kind of did a deep dive on microphones and audio, and you kind of dove into the mics, and I dove into, and this is going to get really deep in the weeds, and I won't do that, but things like compressors and reverb and all that, all the post-production stuff. So, but we're not going to worry about that, and I'll get to my actual first one. And one of my favorite memories, I kind of lumped two into one because they're both kind of the same thing, is one of the things that I really enjoyed the most, and I am fairly certain this is on your list too, is our interviews with Rope Drop and Park Hop and with Ear Scouts.
Yeah, making friends with other creators. Those are like...
It was great.
Yes.
And if any of those people are listening right now, it meant a lot to us. It's great to get to know other people that make fantastic content. And I listen to their podcast, and I watch Ear Scouts on a regular basis, and it's just great to watch and go, I know that person, and I know they're a great person. Well, and I'm happy that I support what they do.
I think what, for me, makes it such a great memory is we were babies.
Yeah, I know.
We recorded with Ear Scouts Rob episode 7. Like, episode 7, we were less than 2 months old.
And I think
I can remember.
It was like a cold call, right?
Yeah.
Hey, we have this podcast.
And he's like, yeah, sure.
But
guys.
we were, and he didn't have too many people following him on YouTube, but we just loved it.
Yeah, I mean, it was early for him too. He was definitely bigger than us, but because I remember being like, "Oh my gosh, are we doing this for real?" And we came and we set up in the studio, and I was like, we got done, we were giddy, we were like little kids.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that was so fun.
And then shortly after that, we learned that Ear Scouts is a pair of people working together. So Eric is part of it too.
Right. Yeah.
Who I talk to on a regular basis too. Eric's great.
Well, we kind
and
of
a cast member.
Yeah, we kind of knew that they were like that. They kind of did it together, but that Rob was the face forward,
and Rob
forward face.
Rob would always refer to Ear Scouts as us and we.
Yep.
And then once we got to know him a little bit better, we found out that there were two people.
Yeah, and we, I mean, getting to know both of them has been great. I know that you talked to Eric quite a bit online, and it's just been fun. Like to get to know them, to get to know Katie and Aaron at Rope Drop and Park Hop, or even just like, not that this was a super close friendship thing, but like when we did this stuff with Podcast Mics for Magic.
That was a great collab too.
Yeah, when that was for the closing of Splash, and it was like raising money for a very good cause. Mm-hmm. It was just like meeting all these other creators and people. I agree. That is also on my list too. Since that was yours, actually, and yes, it was on my list, but I'm going to go ahead and share one of mine, which is I remember, so one of my favorite memories was the Patreon situation. So what I mean by this was I said to Rob, I said, hey, we're going to start a Patreon. And he's like, sure, explain to me about it. So
because I knew what it was.
Right.
And I understand that it's kind of like hey, if you pay extra, you get all these cool bonus things. But I know you're going to get into this now. How the heck does it work?
Right. And I was like, I don't know. So I went through the whole thing. I figured I did a deep dive on it. And I was like, I think we can do this. And I was like, we can do a tier for early access.
Yep.
And we'll do a tier for bonus episodes. And he's like, yeah, sounds good. We can do, like, originally our idea was like the because at the time we were doing like dishonorable mentions.
That's right.
And so we were like, well, we can just do our dishonorable mentions on that, which it's not that. Like our Patreon episodes now are whole episodes of different topics where we don't have to stick to the list kind of a format. And I remember saying to you, I'm going to put these up and I'm going to make it go live and we'll see what happens. I'm like, the good news is we don't have to like budget an whole bunch of extra time because people aren't going to sign up right away or whatever. It was live for an hour.
Yeah.
And I believe Stacy and Jessica were the two that signed up that first, like, in 2 hours.
That's awesome.
And I was like,
shout out to them. That's so cool.
I was like, what? So I texted Rob and I was like, hey, if we have a patron. He's like, wait, what? How? I was like, I don't know, man, but we have a patron. And so we started recording minis, and the way that whole thing went down was like just crazy to me that I didn't think people actually, like, I knew people listened, but it's a jump to go from listening to somebody to subscribing to listen to somebody.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, you pay for Netflix. Yeah, you pay for like Peacock, but like
it's the same kind of thing.
Yes, but like I just was shocked, and I think you were too. And
it's almost like I'm honored, if anything.
Oh
else.
yeah,
like,
I was
wow,
humbled.
That's cool.
I was very humbled, actually.
Wow.
I don't know. That's one of mine.
I mean, there's people at school that avoid talking to us, and there's people that pay to listen to us.
That is so funny. It is very true. All right, so why don't you go ahead and give me another one of your memories?
All right, so this next one is gonna have a sound bite with it. So I loved when we used to do, and we can't do this anymore, and I'll explain. When we used to do actual music for the halftime show.
Yeah.
So
Skittles halftime show.
Yeah, we had the Skittles halftime show, which is kind of a joke because we actually used to do that at our high school, and I would announce the football and soccer games, and I would tell everybody, stay tuned for the Skittles halftime show, which is definitely not sponsored by Skittles.
No, I mean, I think the reason you said it originally at those football games was because of the football player.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So,
well, there was a football player the Buffalo Bills had
yes,
who loved Skittles, who ended up playing for the Seattle Seahawks. But now, perfect timing, there was an interview earlier this week with this new Buffalo Bill, Keon Coleman.
Is he a Skittles guy?
He goes through his favorite candies, and he's going on and on about Skittles and all the colors and flavors of Skittles. And I'm like, it's back. Yes. So, listeners, if you love Skittles, so do we. And I was going to go into more about Skittles, but I'm not. Anyway, at this point, we're going to play a clip of what the halftime show used to be like.
Yeah. So, do yourself a favor, go look up 1991 halftime show of the Super Bowl. While we're at it, we're going to head to the Skittles halftime show right now. So,
surprise, it's still New Kids on the Block.
That's right, with New Kids on the Block.
Skittles has been sponsoring our halftime show since the beginning, which we really appreciate, Skittles.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, we can't do that anymore because, basically we got too big for all these artists. No, actually we can't do it because sometimes like you don't want to get flagged or whatever on Spotify, but we had some pretty big artists. I mean, I think we had Aerosmith.
Oh my God.
We had Barry White one time. Do you remember Barry White did our show?
It's funny how often Aerosmith comes up in conversation between the two of us.
Yeah. I think we invited Red Hot Chili Peppers, but they declined.
Yep.
Foo Fighters, I think, played once. Daft Punk definitely played once. So yeah, it was the Skittles halftime show, and that was one of the funnier things we did early on, and it certainly gave me some memories. I want to say that one of the things that I look back on is actually something that happened before the podcast started, and we've told the story before, but one of my favorite memories is literally the inception of this whole thing.
Yeah.
COVID was crazy, but like I consider this like a COVID baby.
Yeah.
Because
my band is too.
Yeah, because we just kind of like decided to. I mean, we were we had small circles of people that we literally would sit in a circle There were a couple times where we'd get a group together and sit in my driveway in a circle, and then
Yeah, because we were outdoors and we knew generally if we were 6 feet apart outside in a lawn chair, we were okay, and that's what we did.
And we sat around the fire and we would just talk, and we've told the story 1,000 times, so I'm not going to go into it again, but just the memories of how that happened and like the reaction that we got out of our wives was like, what are you guys doing?
Well, they also know that we're both doers, and when we say we're going to do something, we do it.
Yeah, but then we went and bought equipment.
Yeah. Well, we didn't have to buy. I mean, we bought some, but we had a lot of it already because
we had to get another mic and we had to get another like interface. But other than that,
so we record, and we don't talk about this much either. We record in a recording studio in my house.
Mm-hmm.
So Nick comes over, and we have an entire room that's set up as a recording studio with microphones and the computers. And I mean, you look around the room and there's all kinds of musical equipment because I record for my band here too. Not like for our albums, but we do demos, and well, I've done albums in here too, but so we have like our own little music studio, but we had to upgrade and get the microphones like we mentioned earlier, and mic stand, and yeah.
So just the whole, one of my memories is just like the way that it came about, and we've talked about it enough, and I don't want to go too deep into it, but I mean, you could even go as far back as saying part of the way that this came about was you telling me I was wrong back in the hallway when I said I was going to go one time. But
yep, that's your Disney villain origin story.
Yeah, it is. So what else do you have for memories?
One of my favorite things we've done, and we haven't done this in a long time, and I would love to bring this back. I tried to pull back and think of the overarching scope of everything, which not only includes our regular episodes, but includes our Patreon. One of my favorite things is doing the randomized Patreon episodes. So what we would do, if you've never heard these episodes that we've done on Patreon before, is if you're a teacher, we get this thing called the Wheel of Names, I think is the specific name. We call it the Wheel of Death or whatever. And what I would do is I would copy the list of all the attractions in one park, and I would paste it into this this website, and you paste it in, and then it kind of looks like Wheel of Fortune, sort of, where every attraction is around this wheel. It's free if you're listening now, and that sounds like it'd be fun. It is. So you paste in all those.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Fun doing what?
Anything. Any kind of randomization. What are we going to have for dinner tonight?
Okay.
Plug it in.
Sure.
Yeah, I have no idea who I'm going to, what I'm going to bet on to win the Super Bowl this year. Boom, I don't know.
No, sorry.
I'm trying not to bring this back to Buffalo Bills again.
Yeah. Okay.
Because we've already talked Buffalo Bills once. Yeah. Well, I guess that counts as twice.
Yeah.
Anyway, so the wheel spins, and these random attractions would come up, and we had couple of different games, at least one, these games that we would play on the spot. We wouldn't have any prep time. Yeah. So whatever attraction came up, we would have to talk about that attraction.
I've got a new one, remember? We're going to do a new one.
Yes.
I think it's going to be fun.
And like, for example, one of them is we have to come up with a retheme on the spot. What would we do? How would we retheme it?
Yep.
And I really enjoyed that because it keeps us on our toes. Mm-hmm. It's sort of, I mean, we could edit it and make it fake, but it never was.
No, it was
whatever came up, we went with it.
Yeah,
And sometimes when people listen, they're like, "Oh, they could have prepared." Not necessarily us, but in general. But I really enjoyed doing that. That was fun. I don't know. I just put that on my list as one of the things I really, really enjoyed.
Yeah, no, that's a good one. I'm gonna give you one. So I have two more, but so the one I want to do this one first because it'd be a silly one to end on. So Rob is a guy who can get frustrated easily. And I thought...
This is good because my next one is about you.
Okay. I thought episode 8 we were done. Because we had decided, you know what? Like we filmed the YouTube with Ear Scouts Rob. We should do another YouTube. And I got a call from Rob, and he was like, I
think I quit the show a couple times.
Well, that one was like bonkers. That was like you were like, I'm done. I drove from my house to like talk you off a ledge because I thought you were going to pick your computer up. Let's just say that Rob and technology. Rob's good with technology, but Rob has the worst luck with technology. Yeah. And like the video was not synced up with our audio, and he was
that's
throwing
right.
a fit.
I was so mad.
And he was so mad. I was like,
so
stop.
mad.
I will do it. I'll figure it out. And then I realized, you know what? It's not. I was like, it's not worth it. Why are we? Let's not worry about this. Let's not like get in a fight over. Not that we were fighting about it, but like it was more like he was ready to be like, I'm done. I can't do this anymore. And I was like, and so it's more about like not just that, but just the number of times that technology has like messed up for you.
Yes, and I want to say this too. To my own defense a little bit. Yes, I just said I've quit the show a few times. That is not true.
No,
that's not true at all.
No,
that's not true. But there's been a couple times where technology has gone wrong, and I get frustrated, and Nick talks me down. And
there's the time you deleted the entire first half of the episode.
Yeah. Well, it was I didn't. It just happened.
I know you didn't do it. I get that.
See, now I'm getting fired up already.
Yeah. Or like, how many times does so we record on a software called Logic.
Yeah.
And how many times has Logic Pro like just not opened?
They're not opened at all.
Or it won't open one way, but you have to, if you open another file while opening that, then it opens magically. It's so weird.
We found a workaround because now we can't go file new and create a new file. I have to open the template and go from there every time.
Yeah.
Sorry, that's boring, everybody. I realize.
But just,
anyway.
Some of my favorite memories are like,
me getting mad.
Well, yeah. And like, it's justified, but it's maybe not justified to the level. Like, instead of just stepping away, because I know you get so obsessive about it.
I am 95% of my existence. I am pretty happy, chill, normal guy. And Nick has seen this more than once. I get real mad.
The perfectionist over the audio, like it's why our theme song has changed like every 5 episodes.
Oh, that's on my list too.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's go to that now.
Okay, go ahead.
Well, we do have one listener who notices that, and it doesn't change a lot, but I am such a perfectionist with music that if you go back and listen through, I have changed the intro multiple times. Not the general song and the melody has always stayed the same. I wrote that before we started it. I wrote that on a keyboard, and we've kept that. And I want to stay consistent. But the drums have changed, the instrumentation in the back, the way it's balanced, all these different things with the theme song. And shout out to Eric from Ear Scouts, because whenever I change the theme song, I get a message from him. He goes, "Did you change the music?" And I'm like, I'm so impressed that you noticed that, because it's the smallest little tweak. Or Nick will come in and I'm like clicking away at my computer. He comes in, "What's up? What are you doing?" I go, "I'm changing the intro again." He's like, and Nick's like, "Again?" I'm like, "Yeah." And then I play it for him, and you're like, "It's cool." And half the time you probably don't even notice the.
No, I notice them, but like.
But then I have to point out. Now listen to the drum set. Now this is live drums instead of digital drums.
Folks, when I say like, so we record at 11 a.m. I would bet on a weekly basis we start around 11:20.
Full for multiple reasons.
Yeah, between listening to music together or
Logic
like,
or
and not. It's not. This is not me being negative about it. I'm glad. I'll spend as much time as I need to doing this. But like, it's funny when it comes to the theme show music or the theme song music. It's hilarious.
But I enjoy it too. I'm like,
oh no,
I want to make some tweaks.
Yeah, when you do like the when you switch it to like a minor key for the Halloween episodes.
That's right. That was fun.
Or like you put the jingle bells in with the Christmas episode.
Yeah.
So certainly fun stuff with the theme song.
But speaking of the music,
oh no,
for this next one, I actually brought a clip.
Okay.
So here, at one point when we were going to the second half of the show, the mics were on, and every time we record, I drink a can of water.
Oh my God!
It's called Liquid Death.
Oh my God!
And when we start, the music hits, and well, I'll just let it play. Here we go. There it is.
Oh, that was pretty funny.
Here, I'm gonna do it again here. So it's just a can opening. I drink a can of water, not even sparkling water. It's called Liquid Death can, and I don't know what possessed me to do that. And we had to stop, and we were laughing so hard.
I will be honest with you. that I use that as my cue. Like I hear it in my head every time when we come back from the halftime, and I go in my head. I'm like, the yep,
Well,
and then I'm like, okay,
here it goes.
welcome back. That's what I do. Like I
Every
hear
time.
it. I hear it in my head, and I do it every single time. So
All right,
yeah.
listeners, if you like that and you want it permanently, tell us, and we will just make this the permanent sound when we come back from the break. I don't know.
Oh man,
People actually want that or not? I don't know.
no, probably not.
Who knows? Whatever.
So, I think my last one is a memory that I think is was probably my most shocked I've been about this. We released our first episode on July 7th or 6th. I can't remember, but it was July. I think it was July 7th. We were headed down for our trip together, and our second day at Disney, we went to Hollywood Studios, and we're walking on our way out. We had a long day.
I know where you're going now. This is good. I forgot about this. Is great.
We'd had a long day. It was hot.
Yep.
We did really well because we had used Ear Scout Rob's Genie slots, and we got a lot of stuff done. And on our way out, this cast member is taking pictures, and so we're all getting our pictures done for PhotoPass. And
Your family and then my family, the four of you, the four of us.
And then I can't remember which one of our wives said, "Hey, you two should."
Yours.
Okay.
Yeah.
So my wife said, "You guys should get it. The Dizzless dads should get it." Right? Disney dad. I think the first thing was Disney dads because we joke about the Disney dad shirts.
Yeah.
And
which
then
I will not wear.
And then she's like, "Yeah, the Dizzless dads." And the cast member, Haley, who I don't know if she listens still, but Haley says, "Hey, I follow you guys on Instagram." And I was like, "Wait, what?"
I couldn't believe it.
We were a week old.
I know. I couldn't believe it.
I was like, "Here's a sticker."
Yeah. Oh, right. I forgot you had the stickers too.
Yeah. If you ever see the pictures of us with the Chinese theater in the background, where we're our hands are up, like kind of like with the Chinese theater between us.
Yep.
Haley's Happy Haunts on Instagram, but Haley took those, and she was on her college program,
Yep.
and she was like, "Oh yeah, I follow you guys on Instagram." I was like, "Wait, what?"
That was crazy.
And I remember my wife being like, "Wait, I was joking. Like this is a joke, right?" And she's, no, I follow them. It's like that was so funny.
That was funny.
So yeah, that's one of my favorite memories because it was then that I realized, holy cow, this world is small. This world is real small, especially the world of Disney creators. So
I'll end with this one. This one's about Nick here.
Oh,
And
no.
It's also about me, but it's honestly it's more about me than it is about you. It's my flaw.
okay,
So the other thing I really enjoy about the podcast, and I'm always pushing Nick with this. I'm always pushing him. I'm always like, talk about DVC. Talk about DVC. Okay, Disney Vacation Club. Talk about it. And I no matter how many times Nick discusses DVC, I still don't completely understand it. And we've had how many times, like without exaggeration, we must have had on and off air. We've talked about it like 15 times. I get most of it. That's why, like, when we're talking back and forth,
Yeah.
I will say, that's like this, right? And you go, yeah. And in my mind, I'm thinking, hell yeah, got it. But then it comes to the points, and it's this many points for this resort. And then I'm like, oh my God. Once the numbers happen,
Yeah.
I just crumble. But I'm getting there.
yeah.
I think I'm like,
I mean, to be fair,
65, 75%. I got it.
yeah. To be fair, it really is.
It's a lot.
It's a lot to learn. Yeah,
And that's partially why I'm like, hey, let's do another episode. So I'm sitting here going, okay, I'm going to memorize it all this time.
Yeah.
It's like, no joke, Nick teaches 2 AP courses. DVC is like an AP course.
Oh, yeah.
It really is.
Yeah, it's like calculus BC.
It is.
Yeah, it's for sure.
So again, if you want to hear if you're interested in DVC and you want an episode, I'm all about it. I know Nick's all about it. I need some more some tutoring.
Yeah, I've had people reach out about DVC on Instagram, and I feel like they stopped talking to me because they're like, "Oh my gosh, I should not have opened that can of worms." Because that's just like,
You should have a stock answer and like save it in one of your like a notes app on your phone.
I don't know if they let you save that size of an answer. I'm telling you, man. It's like, those text messages you get in with like people are just like, whoa, they had a lot to say.
Then maybe that one is a video. As long as the audio's synced up, I won't lose my mind.
We figured that stuff out now. We're good now.
I know.
At that time, there was a lot of things we were learning about.
Well, and then on top of that too, like my kids are doing sports, and it was just a lot, and I have a hard time when everything stacks up, and once in a while too, we have to move the dates that we record because we have stuff going on, and I think both of us are always
teamwork, right?
Yep, we're flexible about that stuff, and. So we'll have to change. We'll have a longer episode this week, and you're doing a little mini trip, so we'll change the recording time this week too. But
honestly, there's a lot of things like that, and in all seriousness, we talked about a lot of funny things, but one of the things I think I look back on the most over this last 98 episodes, now 99, soon to be 100, is just like our friendship has changed, and our family's relationship has changed. And this morning my kids and my wife went to the flea market with your wife, and just hanging out like that. And
not that my kids didn't want to go, but
they were
my
sleeping.
daughter went to the prom last night, prom number 2 with her boyfriend.
Yep.
And my son was out over at a friend's house too. And
no, it's just one of those things where what I'm saying is that people might hear us record and think, well, they're friends on the air, but honestly, we
talk every day.
We talk every day and quite a bit usually. So I think that in all seriousness, as much as we joke around and we poke fun at each other, this has really strengthened our friendship, and honestly, it's led us to both get better at things that maybe we were weaker at. Audio stuff for me, and even design stuff when I'm working with Magic Merch stuff.
Yep.
It's just been a lot of fun.
I haven't gotten better at math though.
Well, no, you haven't.
No.
maybe we can do some tutoring this summer.
Okay.
Some DVC tutoring.
All right.
I'll use DVC to teach you math.
Deal.
But this past 98 episodes have been a lot of fun. Yep. And it's not possible without the people who are listening right now.
If you're still listening and you're laughing at some of these jokes, we appreciate you.
Yeah.
It means the world to us.
Yeah.
So it's cool.
Next week's going to be fun too. We've got a lot of really cool things that we're going to be able to talk about. So I'm excited about the 100th. But Rob, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
So we've had a lot of fun, and I'm going to point out that I believe it was Rob who came up with our closing tagline. I can't remember if it was you or me.
No, I did.
Yep. My son has a whole
But you came up with the name of the show though.
Yeah.
Diz List is you.
Right. And then the tagline, which I'm about to say, was you. So it's been a great, big, beautiful tomorrow, and tomorrow's just a list away.
Tune in next time, and we'll see you real soon.